ideology. And so they either ignore them or they push against them, or, you run into these ideologically captured people. And it's very hard for people to break free, because then you run the risk of being attacked by your own community. Mm-hmm. And when you have this like very binary perspective on politics and social issues, whenever you deviate in any way, shape, or form, you run the risk of being attacked, particularly right now, because, again, people are so divided. And I really think this started, it's always been the case, but from 2016 on, it became much more aggressive.
In 2012, people stopped voting for the love of the side that they had and started voting for distaste of the other. So up until then, people that were Democrats were voting because they liked the Democrats. After that time, both Republicans and Democrats were basically doing a protest vote. How much do you hate the opposition versus how much do you love yourself?
Yeah.
And it was more about, I am not that than I am this. And it goes back to that fragile hatred of an out-group, not mutual love of an in-group thing from before. Right? You're constantly looking for who can we shave off? Who can we get rid of? But I mean, why politics? Because I can't remember a time, mostly because I had my head up my ass, but I can't remember a time when the news wasn't talking about politics. But I know that there was one, when it was other sorts of stories, but everything now seems to be so captured. And do you remember, was it Nicki Minaj who became co-opted by the Republicans briefly when she was like vaccine skeptical a few years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like any opportunity to co-opt somebody in to become a political football that we can click about.
Yeah.
It happened with you. Same thing with you as well. I just wonder why everything is seen through the same frame of politics now. Was it Trump? Was that the thing?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. But it's a very easy attack vector. It's very effective. If you can just point to someone having some sort of heterodox perspective that is problematic, you can attack them based on wrongthink. This is wrongthink. It's Orwell. It's like really what it is. It's like you've decided this person, instead of saying, what is she saying? Oh, she's saying her friend's balls swole up, which is kind of hilarious. She was talking about the vaccine, and her friend had some bad reaction. And his balls swole up, which is apparently rare, but does happen to some people. But, the way they looked at it was like, you shouldn't be talking about this. You shouldn't be saying this because you're contributing to vaccine hesitancy, and this is vaccine misinformation, and you're a bad person. And she was like, fuck you. She pushed back hard, which I thought was amazing.
Based Minaj for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, man, she went hard at it. And so whenever that happens, there becomes a problem, right? Here's another problem. Then people get captured by the Republican Party. And then they start talking about that. And then they start saying, you know what, fuck that. I'm a Republican now. I'm red-pilled. And then they just join another group. They just join this other group that supports them. And one of the things that's really interesting about the Republicans during this time is that whenever anybody does step out of favor with the Democrats, the Republicans endorse them and take them in. They've done that with me. And I'd like to thank you for that, Fox News. I love you too. They've been super supportive of me. I appreciate it. But and the things that they're supportive of are things that we tend to agree with. I don't believe in this sort of one-size-fits-all government-mandated, healthcare remedy for a pandemic when there's other ways to address it. There's other ways. I think people should have autonomy about their body, the same way I think that a woman has a right to choose. It's like my body, my choice, except when it comes to this one thing, this vaccine that I want you to take no matter what, or I'm not going to let you work and you can't travel.
But that's problematic because you're now showing that you don't hold the wholesale opinion.
Yeah.